Finding slopes of the line through each pair of points. We're going to do some standard form of how to convert linear equations to standard form, and also identifying the slope, and then finding the x and y intercepts using linear equations. And for all the videos on this channel, I encourage you to take down notes that is more than just the numbers, really writing down the vocabulary and the steps out as I'm discussing them on the side so you can understand how to arrive at the answer and not just a page full of numbers. If you need some prior knowledge on how do you find integers or one-step, two-step equations, review back on some of the other videos that we've already done, but you have to have that knowledge in order to do this work. So the first thing we're going to do is find the slope of a line through each pair of points. Slope is the change of y over the change of x. You find it in the linear equation y equals mx plus b. And the formula that goes with finding slope when you have 2 points is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Okay, and if at any time this video is moving too fast, pause the video. Make sure you're writing good detailed notes. So let's look at our first set of points. All right, the first pair is 8, 10, and the second pair is negative 7, 14. And let's put our formula back out on the side so we can refer to it. And I'd like for you to notice in the formula, the subtraction sign is part of the formula, so we have to put that back in as we start to do the math on it. So let's first label our points. So we have an x1 and a y1, an x2 and a y2. We're going to plug these numbers into this equation. So we have 14 minus, because it's part of the formula, and 10. We have negative 7 minus 8. This is where your integer rules are going to be very important. So 14 minus 10, take the sign of the biggest number. It's going to be plus. The signs are different. We're going to subtract. So 14 minus 10 is 4. A negative 7 and a negative 8 is going to be a negative 15. So we know we're going to have a slope when we graph it going downward as a negative slope. So this slope is negative 14, or negative 4 over 15. The next pair of points is a negative 20, comma negative 4, and a negative 12, comma negative 10. So we have negative 10 minus negative 4. Let's go ahead and label this so we get into the habit of seeing what our points are before we start plugging them into the formula. We have negative 12 minus, because it's part of the formula, and then a negative 20. So that's why I'm putting them in the parentheses to separate the two negative signs. But with your integer rules, you learn when you have those two negative signs, we make it just a big plus sign. So we really have negative 10 plus 4 over negative 12 plus 20. And remember, we're finding the slope. So we have negative 6 over 8. Reduce all fractions. So my answer would be negative 3 over 4. Another negative slope. Now, next pair of points is a negative 19, comma negative 6, and 15, comma 16. We're labeling our x and our y points. And now putting it into the equation. 16 minus a negative 6 over 15 minus negative 19. Two negative signs together with our integer rules. We're going to make this a big plus sign on both. So we're really doing 16 plus 6. 22 over 34. Reducing all fractions, I'm going to start with a small number of 2, and this is going to give me 11 over 17, which is now a positive slope, going to be trending upward. Now, last pair of points is negative 18 and 20, negative 20, and negative 18 and negative 15. Okay, so we have a negative 15 minus negative 20, negative 18 minus 18. Make sure you label. Out of my habits, I know what I'm doing, so I just already put that down. But in the learning stages of this, it's important for you to label your points. I have two negative signs together, make it a big plus sign. So I actually have 5 over 0, which means this slope will be undefined because the 0 is in the denominator. So that's how we're going to find slope with a pair of points. Okay, understanding these two formulas, we have that Y-intercept form and then the standard form. Slope Y-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b and ax plus by equals c. We always want this to be positive and 1. So let's take a look at some examples. We're going to do several things with the equation. So the first one is y equals negative 5x minus 1. And remember, slope is rise over run. Your rise can be positive, which is going to make your graph go up, or negative, which will make the graph go down. And you're going to run to the right. Okay, so our slope is actually negative 5 over 1x. So we will run to the right and go down negative 5. And just to kind of sketch one of these, just so you'll know with your graphing. The easiest way to graph a linear function if it's in slope y-intercept form. So we will graph the y-intercept first, which is negative 1. We're going to run to the right 1 and down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our sketch graph will look something like this. And if you're using graph paper, of course, you can sketch it with more accuracy. Okay, our next problem, 19, is y equals negative 1 over 5, x minus 4. Our slope is negative 1 over 5, x. Our y-intercept is negative 4. So we're going to put this in standard form. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. So we're just going to manipulate some variables, move them from one side of the equal sign to the other side. And you do that by doing the opposite operation. So because I want the x on the other side, and it's a negative, I'm going to move a positive 1/5 to the other side. Now I cannot combine it with the y because they're not like terms. So I have 1/5 x, bringing down the y, equal sign, these are going to cancel, a negative 4. So now I do have my x on one side, my y on that same side, and then the c, which is -4 on the other side. But I still want this x to be a +1. What I'm going to do is multiply this denominator of 5 all the way through, because what I'm trying to do is get the x to a positive. I'm doing like the reciprocal of it. So if I do the reciprocal of 1/5, that's 5 over 1. So 5 divided by 5 is going to equal that 1 that I need for the x. And I have to divide this 5, multiply this 5 all the way through. So 5 times 1 and 1 times 5 is going to give me x. 5 times y is going to give me 5y. And 5 times -4 is going to give me a -20. Now this is in standard form. Our next one is y equals 1 over 4x plus 1. My slope is 1/4. My y-intercept is 1. But I like to put it in standard form of ax plus by equals c. So we're going to shift some variables around by doing the opposite operation. I'm going to move this 1/4 x to the other side. Working left to right. -1/4 x. Bringing down this positive y. Haven't had changed it. The equal sign and the 1. Remembering that I want this to be a +1. I'm going to have to do the reciprocal of -1 over 4 by multiplying it by -4 over 1. And that's going to give me the positive that I need to make this a 1. And I put it in the middle because it's really, you can look at it either way, the way that I had it written, or you can put it in the middle and make it negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, so I'm going to multiply everything through as a distribution of a -4 over 1. This is going to be x minus 4y equals -4. Now looking at 25, it is written in standard form. But you may have a question to say, put it in Y-intercept form, okay, which is y equals mx plus b. So now I need y by itself. I'm going to move the 2x to the other side. Working left to right, it's going to cancel. 3y equals a -2x plus 9. And I'm writing it like the formula is lined up. I still need y by itself, so I'm going to divide 3 by everything on the other side. Y is going to be a -2/3 x plus 3. Another problem in standard form that we can do, 5x plus 2y equals 6. So I'll move the 5x to the other side. Working left to right. -5x plus 6. Dividing 2. This actually should be x. Sorry about that. This x should actually be a y. Y equals negative 5 over 2x plus 3. So this is going from standard form to slope Y-intercept form. This is much easier to graph. This is what you want it to look like to graph. And the last thing we're going to talk about is the x and y intercepts. Where is it crossing on the x-axis on the graph and the y-axis on the graph? So if you think about the graph, and this is the x-axis, everything that's on this graph, no matter where the point is, x is going to be a number and y is going to be 0. Same thing for the y. If it falls on the line, y is going to be a 0 this time. The x is going to be a 0 and the y is going to be a number. Let's look at y equals 1 over 4x plus 1. I like doing practice problems with fractions because normally we have homework that looks like number 17, which is really easy to do. And then we get to the test day, and number 21 is a fraction, and we have no idea what to do. So let's just practice one with a fraction. So to find the x and the y-intercept, all you need to do is put a 0 in the opposite, where the opposite variable is located. Okay? So if we want to find the x-intercept, we're going to put a 0 in for the y and solve. Working to get the variable by itself, I'm going to move the 1 to the other side, which is going to make it a negative 1 equals 1 over 4x. I'm still working to get x by itself. So I'm going to do the reciprocal. 4 over 4 is going to give me 1. So I'm going to multiply this side by 4 over 1 and this side by 4 over 1. Working left to right, this is going to give me a negative 4. And these two are going to cancel, and I'm going to have x. So my x-intercept is negative 4, 0. That's the actual point. Okay, using the same problem, we're going to find the y-intercept. By putting 0 in for x. The y is going to equal 1 over 4 times 0 plus 1. Y equals anything times 0 is 0, 1. So my y-intercept is 0, 1. My x-intercept was negative 4, 0. Okay, and let's also do number 23 to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So we have y equals negative x plus 2. To find the x-intercept, we're going to put 0 in for y, negative x plus 2, working to get the variable by itself. We're going to move negative 2 across the equal sign, which is the opposite operation. Negative 2 equals negative x. Always want a positive variable, so I'm going to divide by negative 1 on both sides. So 2 equals x. Going to be my y, my x-intercept. 2, 0. Okay. Okay, to find the y-intercept, I'm going to put in a 0 for x plus 2, so y equals 2. So my y-intercept is 0, 2. And that's it.